What's up, guys? This is Dax McClellan and another Ask Dax episode this week. I hope you've been enjoying these because I've been enjoying making them. So, this is where you ask the questions and I answer them, okay? If you want to ask a question, make sure you check out my email address below. Send me your question in about a 3-4 line, small paragraph. Please be specific, and if I like it, I'll answer it in a video. Okay, so let's get into this. This week, our first question is, how do you get past the fear of your first portrait? Great question. Oh, a continuation is, he says, I can do them in pencil, but skin is scary to me. I've thought about doing the first one on myself. I would recommend you do the first one on yourself because if you're gonna fuck up on somebody, it might as well be yourself, okay? And chances are, you might, okay? There's, you know, if you wanna get good at something, you gotta be willing to fail, okay? Failure is part of success. And the more times you do it, the better you're going to get at it. But there's other factors, okay? Your knowledge of portraits has a lot to do with it too, okay? There's a difference, there's a right way and there's a ton of ways of drawing portraits on paper, okay? And I guess there's a lot of them that don't translate to skin, okay? There is a way to draw a portrait on paper that helps you develop your skills, your muscles, your drawing muscles to smoothen the transition from paper to skin, if that makes sense. And that's what I teach in my training course, the Realistic Portrait System, where we enroll every once in a while. You might be able to get information below if you're interested in that. It's a huge topic on its own. I wish I could tell you just in this quick video, but I can't. Besides enroll in the course, you might have to relearn how to draw, but it will develop the muscles so that transition is a lot smoother and you don't ruin clients in the process. Also, there's a thing called a test portrait, and that's where you test yourself and do a portrait of something that's not a memorial portrait, that's not something that somebody's gonna completely cry about if it's not exact, okay? It's the transition between portraits on paper and portraits on skin. That's also in the Realistic Portrait System course. If you're interested, links below. One more thing I wanna bring up on that is, you gotta face your fear. If you're not willing to face your fear, you will never do great portraits on skin. You gotta face the fear. Face the fear, proper knowledge, and that's about it, man. And repetition. So, I hope that answered your question. Okay, next question. How do I bring more customers that are interested in my styling? And how do I get a person walking in off the street to feel comfortable enough to trust my style is the style that would be best for their tattoo? There's two sides to this question I want to bring up. So, number one, people don't come in for your style if you don't do a style, okay? So do more of your style, put it in your portfolio, advertise it, promote it, and get word of mouth spreading about your style, okay? And give them free until that is the word of mouth. Give them free. That's one of the best things you can do to create a style and create a brand awareness about your style. That's one thing that I've done and I've had amazing results. The second part to this is you have to realize sometimes your style isn't what they're looking for, and sometimes it's not the best for what they want. And you have to accept that. Having a tattoo is about the client. It's not about you, okay? If you want to do things just about you, give them out for free. That's one way of doing it, or just do it on canvas, okay? On a person's skin is different. And there is a way, I mean, you have to realize, like, you can get a healthy balance where the client wants this and you want this and you guys compromise and meet in the middle. And that's possible It's a little more complicated than just saying that though. Like, you're gonna have to learn how to sell yourself and your style. That's one thing a lot of tattoo artists don't develop, is their sales skills. And it's one of the reasons why there's amazing artists that end up having to get day jobs, because they thought that their work was gonna speak for itself, okay? Develop your sales skills. That's one of the best things you can do in any industry, and it will only benefit you. Doing great tattoos is only one part of being a tattoo artist. Now, I want to bring up another thing about this is, you know, when it comes to what the client wants, if it's not matching your style, first, you want to ask questions, okay? You want to listen, and you really want to understand their needs and what they want. And you have to really listen. You know, if you're cutting a client off, you're not listening, you're responding, okay? You shouldn't be thinking about how to respond to something while somebody's talking ever in any conversation. That's not listening. That's trying to win a conversation, okay? That's retarded. Another thing is paint the picture for them. That's another tip I can give you, man, is you got to be able to paint your picture of what you want to do on their skin, okay? People walking into a shop, they're not like us artists most of the time. They can't just look at skin and visualize what's going to be there, okay? So the more you can paint the picture on their skin, the better. A question I want to ask you is, are you the type of person that draws a simple little basic outline to a stencil and shows them that garbage? Or are you the type of person that colors it, details it, puts a ton of time into this design, and then shows them that, and then maybe even puts a stencil on their arm and shows them what it would look like on skin? Because the more you paint the picture, the more it sells the customer, okay? You got to be willing to invest with no guarantee to be paid out. Be willing to invest your time drawing this thing and listen to the customer so that you are drawing on the terms that they want, and paint the picture for them. Another thing is, it depends on you, how you attracted that customer. If they're just a walk-in, they're just a walk-in, but think about how you attracted the customer, because that has a lot to do with what they want. You know, I've noticed when I put Facebook ads out of a mandala, those are the type of people that come walking in the shop. It's not people that are wanting portraits, which is my specialty. But if I put one out for portraits, guess who comes in? It's the portrait guys. So that's another thing. And one last thing I want to give out is, think of your customer long term, okay? Trust needs to be built, okay? If you're not good at selling and you're not a great artist, you're somewhere in between, and somebody doesn't know you, you can't just expect them to trust you if you're not a trustable person. You got to be trustable. You got to have a comfortable vibe. You can't be a weirdo. You got to learn how to paint the picture to them. And even if you can't do the tattoo in your style, do it anyways. Because sometimes that trust can be built on the next tattoo. And just doing that first tattoo, what I've noticed is, I'll tell my tattoo artists in my shop, do the small tattoos. Because you never know when that small tattoo will turn into a sleeve or a back piece. Most of them do. How many people do you know that only gets one small tattoo? Not many, okay? Tattoos are addicting. People get a ton of them. People like to express themselves through ink. So think of the long term, okay? Don't think of that customer as just this person coming in just this day and they're only worth 50, 100 bucks, okay? If you do a great job and that customer comes in 10 times in the next 10 years, now how much is that customer worth? And they get a back piece. Now how much is that customer worth? And they refer people. How much is that customer worth? Think in the long term. Anyway, this is the end of the video. I hope I answered all your questions thoroughly. I hope you got some value out of this. Now, if you have a question, make sure you check out my email address below, askdaxquestions@gmail.com. Send me some questions. Make sure they're about 3-4 sentences long and they're specific, and if I like them, I'll answer them. Also, check out my new book, The Savage Way. Right now, we're giving a little deal for it. So, the link's below. I think you're going to like it. It's 10 out of 10 rated from our customers. Other than that, stay tuned for next week where we get into Ask Dax again. Peace.